Hey folks, this is Mickey G. Don't you just hate it when your doctor's office tells you to get there 15 minutes early and they see you half hour, 45 minutes after your appointment time? Well, Rodney and I talk about that and other stuff in this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School.
I don't know. It was just ingrained in me when I got out and started working downtown. Man, I was sitting up here. There's a restaurant. It's a German restaurant that's out here by my house. It's about 2 blocks up from my house. They would leave the state capitol 20 miles away and come out here for lunch and go back. And I'm like, because they were saying, "Oh, you." Once I got there, "Oh, you live out there by Old Paris." I said, "Yeah, it's 2 blocks down the street from me." "Oh yeah, they have great lunches out there." I'm like, "Y'all go all the way out there for lunch?" I mean, it's 17 miles just on I-40. They come to lunch out here. I'm like, boy, it must be nice. Y'all, them hour 45-minute lunches is all right.
Yeah. Trying to be on time or even early and those kind of things, that you learn in the military, it stays with you.
Yeah,
I've done it that long for so many years, it just stays with you.
But these suckers done broke me out of it a little bit, though. These doctor's appointments, man. Okay, your appointment is at 11:30, but we'd like for you to be here at 11:15, and I get there as early as 10:50. And I'm like, damn, my appointment was at 11:30. People still going in, but not me. I'm like, what the hell am I being diligent about being here on time? My time is valuable just like yours is. Are y'all double and triple booking people? Kind of thing. It was pissing me off, man. But I mentioned it to my nurse. And I must say, here the last year and a half, I still get there early. At one point, I started getting there late. I'm like, the hell with that. But something in me won't let me just keep doing it. So I get there and I sign in early and call me right in. I'm like, oh, okay. I like that.
Yeah, what I got is pretty good about being on time, but I've been to some other, especially some of the specialists that run way late, and it's almost like, well, what are you going to do? You're already there, you're already ready, you're already taking time out, so you going, you sit there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the way it is. And the thing that I've been sort of surprised by is, being in the military. I guess in some ways, we just do things differently. But I know, being in a dental clinic, when we had patients come in, we took their blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was like, if you had a long sleeve shirt up, no, you need to take your arm out of that shirt. We got to get down the skin, make sure this stuff is accurate. Man, I walk in there, I have a jacket on. They put that blood pressure stuff around the arm, shirt, undershirt, jacket. And I'm thinking, how are you going to be able to take accurate, blood pressure with all this stuff on my arm? They'll pump it up. Okay, 126/18. That's good today. I'm thinking, no, you couldn't have. There ain't no way that they would have allowed you to have done that, in the military hospitals. And I was telling Marion, I went in for my appointment. Because my doctor's been on me about getting my A1C below 7. So I went and got my blood work done, and it was like 6 point something. I'm like, all right, I finally got it below 7. So I go in and I walk up to the scale. Once again, in the military, they want you to take your boots off, your jacket off, empty your pockets, blah, blah. I almost want you to strip before you get on the scale. I walk in, step on the scale. I said, well, you want me to take it? No, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
So I got on the scale. So I told her, I said, this time when I went, last time it was in November. I think it was November. It was a cold day too. Had my big winter coat on, had my boots on, had my phone in my pocket, my keys in my pocket, everything. Step right up on the scale. Didn't take nothing, just step right up on the scale. So I went back this time. I guess it was 2 weeks ago now. I went back this time. Well, it was a nice sunny day, so I didn't have no jacket on, I had my sneakers on. I took I made a point. I took my keys, my phone out of my pockets, and when I got on the scale, I set them on a little table behind the scale. The lady said, "You've lost 10 pounds." I'm
Ain't
like,
this
"Yeah."
man?
And I said to Mary, I said, "Yeah, that 10 pounds was that coat, them boots, that
Mhm.
and the phone I had in my pocket, my keys. That was it." I said, "That was a 10 pounds. I ain't lost no 10 pounds."
Exactly. That's man, I had one little nurse, I think she got offended because I said, I was on the same thing. I said, uh, hell, I wasn't talking about getting buck naked. I said, but let me you want me to take this off there? Oh no, we don't want you naked. I'm like, well damn. This ain't no accurate reading here. I got
No,
shoes on, stuff in my pocket, and the whole 9 yards. But they just go through the motions, bruh. I mean, my God, and I get up on that scale, I'm like, I know damn well I don't weigh that.
that same thing I said too. Last time I went, I said, "I know I don't weigh that much," but
Yeah.
once again, as I thought about what all I had on, I'm just like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
'cause, in the wintertime, that's when I wear my, like my Timberland kind of boots and things. Them things are heavy."
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
some heavy boots. And I'm like, I got all that on. I got my coat, big heavy coat on. I got my keys in my pocket, my phone in my pocket. And I'm like, well, no wonder I lost 10 pounds. 'Cause I didn't
Yes,
have
sir.
none of that stuff on this time.
Yeah, and the doctors that we got here, they act like they don't want to touch it. They just want to come in and type on the computer. I told the dude, I said, "Hey, man, I've been having some problems with my heel, and I was just wondering, what you could check that out." Man, this dude wheeled out from behind that little old portable thing with the keyboard on it, and turn around and look. It's like he wasn't gonna touch me. It's like, oh, I'm not touch. They don't do me, pay me that much. I mean, there ain't no. Even when they use a stethoscope, they use it through your clothes,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, what can you hear from that? It's just like I was telling Rosin. I said, especially too now that we're on Medicare, we're not bound by TRICARE where you got to go see your primary care doctor to
Mhm.
get a referral. We can just go
Right.
where we want to go now. And I said, I'm not going back to him on no, because it's pointless. It's a conversation that we have. How you feeling? Is there any pain? Okay, well, let me get your scripts in. You can get your drugs. I said I'm going up there for him to write my prescriptions. That's all it is, and that's another claim. I said, if my heel is hurting, it start hurting anymore, I'm going straight to orthopedics. I'm gonna bypass his ass. you
Yeah.
know, and everywhere else. And now that I'm going to the dentist, I'll go to the dentist down there. The VA is taking care of that. So I'm like, man, I'm through with these damn doctors. And true to form, some test rosin had to have run. Uh, uh, they didn't know whether or not they'd pay for it. I said, oh, we'd heard it 20 times before. We had gone through all of this stuff and nothing like that happened. So I was like, well, they ain't sent me no bill. I ain't got no explanation of benefits. I'll worry about that when I get it. But
Yeah.
I'm just this dude, as far as I'm concerned, for what he does. And just like I said, when I was getting, now she calls me in because I even talked to her about it. I said, man, this dude here. I said, man, my time is valuable too. She gets me on back there, but I still sit there and wait. I'm in the room, but I'm waiting because I can hear him talk. This dude loved to talk, man. He loved
Mhm.
to hear himself talk. I can hear him 2 exam rooms down talking to patients, man. It's just, and it ain't about their situation. It's just jibber jabber. Well, my wife is a doctor and blah, blah, blah. Rosalind can't stand it. She's like, I'm so sick of him. I know about his whole family. She told me something about his mama one day. I said, how you know about the mama? Hell, he told me, you know, but he loves to talk, man. Dude come in there and I'm like, he has his scrubs on, man. And he has what looked like, remember them dingo boots back in the day?
Right.
And he got him pulled up on his leg. You know how these kids wear one leg pulled up on one leg? He got one leg pulled up. How you doing there? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing fine. Other than waiting on me, I was in there talking, and I know that you were sitting here waiting, and I was trying to get in here, and this and that, and hell, the 10 minutes that he sees me, 6 of them is that kind of mess, you know? And I'm like, dude, you know, then he hurries up to get out. Well, one thing I do notice about he like talking to women though. He gets me in. Because see, prior to that, I ask him direct questions, and uh, like I say, I check on stuff before I go in there, so because I want to ask a question to get information, you know. And we started talking. This last time, I told him about my heel. It kind of pissed me off. The dude acted like he didn't want to touch me. And I don't want him to touch me, but you know, you think you to exam something, you know.
Uh-uh.
He he didn't even take my vitals. But anyway, the girl did that, but he didn't. You know, usually, sometimes they'll want you to cough and listen to your back and all that. He didn't do none of that. So I did that with my foot. Homeboy sitting there, we talking. Next thing I know, he done printed off some exercises for me to do. I'm like, fuck, I could have done that. Yeah, if you do these exercises here, I'm like, boy, you general practitioners, y'all got it getting over. Hey, anything of any substance? Well, let me refer you to Doctor Such and Such and Such. I'm like, boy, this is a waste of time.
Yeah, yeah, that's what they do. It's a referral society now. They'll see you for
Yeah.
the basics, but anything besides that, they're going to refer you out because that's. I called over. You talking about not having to get a referral? I called over to the TOA, as a Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance. That's the people I go to when I was having issues with my shoulder and my elbow,
Hmm.
and I was having an issue with my right elbow after I put up all the Christmas decorations. That very point of my elbow, I came in after I'd done that, and I put my arm down on my desk. Man, I almost cried. It hurt so bad. I thought I'd done something to the bursa sac. I said, yeah, that's probably what it is. And then, but it only would bother me when I would do something like that, or I'd be outside playing with a little deer. I could feel it a little bit, but it just never went away. So I just finally made an appointment and went out there to see about that. And the when I called out there to make the appointment, the lady said, "Oh yeah, you've been here to see us before." I said, "Yeah." So I've been out there for my other elbow and my shoulder and my knee. That's when they said I had that
Hmm.
partially torn meniscus in my knee. And she said, "Oh, you've seen Doctor." Ah, shoot, I can't think of his name. You've seen him before. Do you want to see him again? I said, no.
Yeah.
I said to myself, he's the one that came over there that gave me that injection in my elbow and didn't put no kind of freezing stuff on nothing. Came over with that needle. He had that little intern in there with him, a
Yeah.
resident or whatever he was. He came over. I'm thinking, just like the doctor before, he's going to put some of the little freezy stuff on there and say, okay, we're going to give it a little time. Man, he came over there and stuck that needle down in my elbow. And I say, I wanted to cry.
Hmm.
I said, no, I don't want to see him again. I don't want to see him again. So I went in there, and as a matter of fact, they gave me this young lady, a nurse practitioner, I wouldn't see, and actually I have a bone spur at the end of my elbow. That's what it
Mm.
was. She said, "Yeah, you got a bone spur, and whenever you put your elbow down on a table or something like
Yeah.
that, it's going to hurt." She said, "But it's not anything that really, we need to take. It's not going through the tendon there or anything like that, but you're going to feel it." I said, okay, I'm fine. I said, I just wanted to see what it was. Said, that's what it is. But yeah, man. I said, no. I mean, I didn't tell the person on the phone why I didn't want to see him. But I said, hell no, I don't want to see him again, because I said
Yeah, buddy.
some of the worst pain I've ever felt in my life when he stuck that cortisone needle in my elbow. I'm like, no, we don't want to see him again.
Yeah, I had one here. He was the same way. I had to get with him. I think his little assistant, I don't know if she was a PA or what, but she was typing on a computer as he talked. He was kind of arrogant, leaning up against the wall with his legs, crossed and hands in his pocket, and just that condescending tone
Mm-hmm.
that he had with him. And so I meet condescension with condescension. So he and I had a few exchanges there, and so I'm like, hell, you ain't gonna sit here and talk to me any kind of way. And uh, I had to go back again, and he was there. So it's just like a football game. I was ready. So he runs the sweep, and I'm gonna kill his ass. So I had my attitude on, and I went in the door, and it was so I didn't realize that it was so intense when he and I were going back and forth that the people outside at the desk, when I walked out, they were all just turned and looked.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, he I don't know if he's had a reputation or what, but so I went back this last time. Well, not this last time. It was a time before this one that I went back. So I'm ready. You come with it. I ain't gonna give you a feeler. Let you say a couple of things before I respond. I'm responding right off the bat. So he said something. Well, since you didn't, because he told me about he wanted me to take a cortisone shot in my knee, and I've had them before, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I said, let's try uh, physical therapy first, and then if that don't work, then I'll take the knee. But what he said was, he said before all of that, he said, well, the last time you were here, you didn't want to take the cortisone shot. And, kind of in a condescending tone, I said, I didn't say I didn't want to take it. I said I wanted to try physical therapy first. Then he backed up. We had a doctor patient conversation at that point. He lowered his tone, I lowered my tone. I'm like, I'm not gonna sit here and let you talk to me. I've been around you doctors all these years. I know half of y'all think y'all hung the moon, but you didn't hung the moon that I'm on.
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh,
know.
yeah.
And I just told him, I just let him know, you're not finna walk over me. And it's just kind of like the brothers that be down at the VA sometimes, man. I was down there, and I'm looking at how some of them doctors talk to those older guys, man. And they're older, man. If they ain't got nobody with them, they talk to them guys any kind of way. I'm like, no, I'm not putting up with that.
Yeah. But sometimes you gotta let them know, and there's a lot of good doctors that have a really good, uh, you know,
Bedside manner.
bedside manner to them, and there's just some that just don't.
Yeah,
It's just how they are. And
full of it.
sometimes you got to let them get to. Yeah,
Mhm.
you got to let them know because we had that same problem, especially when I worked in oral surgery. They thought that, they since they were oral surgeons and not a dentist any longer, that they, like you say, like they hung the moon. Like,
Mhm.
nah, no. And then we had others who would, just as easygoing. I mean,
Oh
just
yeah.
easy people to get along with, had a good time with, and it wasn't no kind of distinction between I'm this and you're that kind of thing. But I guess that's just the way it is with people in general. You just got people
Oh
like
yeah.
that, people in
That,
general.
that is
Some of
for
them
sure.
take it a little higher when they have these, positions as a doctor or a lawyer or whatever it may be. But I
Mhm.
guess that's just the way people are when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah. Man, they definitely are, man. And again, it's the way people treat them too. They treat them like they hung the moon, and they get full of themselves. Oh, that's Doctor. It's just like this doctor. I can't think of his ethnicity, but he's a brown dude. I couldn't tell if he's Indian. He might be part Indian, uh, uh, but he's from over there in the east, and I may be wrong, but not stereotyping, but a lot of them don't cater to us at all,
Hmm.
and so I had that on in the repertoire because it's not my nature to be nasty, but if you're gonna be nasty, I'm gonna be nasty with you, and but he seems to be cool now. He said, when I left this last time, now be sure that knee starts bothering you, call me. I said, yeah, I will. You know, I sure will, cause I ain't gonna be hobbling around here with too much pain. I got a new ache every day, it seems. Yeah, so
Well, yeah, that's the way it is with me. Like I say, with my elbow, I'm thinking, damn, it was the other elbow before. Now it's this one's bothering me. I
mhm,
guess that's all. Cause man, she's got a bone spur in her ankle. She was having a problem with her ankle and went in, and they said, yeah, you got a bone spur, and hers is on that tendon, and it goes down the back of your foot.
mhm,
They said that's just part of getting older. It's
yeah,
it's basically arthritis. So yeah, it's just part of it.
Yeah, man. I even noticed when I went to old boy there with the dingo boots on. All of a sudden now, every time I go there, okay, now you need to go down to the lab and let them take some blood. We're gonna run these tests on everything, make sure everything all right. I'm like, cool. This last time I went, he said, well, there's no reason to go down there. We're just gonna prick your finger right here and take your A1C right here. I'm like, oh, so you're over 65 now. It's kind of a bit like being retired military. Get the back of the line. Active duty. Come on. Well, I was wanting to get out of that pharmacy one day so bad. I needed to leave, man, and the line for active duty was empty. And as soon as I get up there, boy, here come about 3 or 4. Boy, I was like, God be damn. And then I'm sitting there thinking, the whole time I was active duty, I never jumped the line. I said, that's the difference between these young boys. Hell, we didn't want to jump the line because that was just longer from work that we would be.
Right, right.
I ain't in no hurry. No, go ahead. Go ahead. I ain't in no
Yeah,
hurry.
yeah. I was that way too. I would, like the BX a place like that. People would come up and no, you go ahead. It's at that time. Y'all go to France. I said, no, I ain't no hurry. Go
Yeah.
ahead. I ain't
Yeah.
no hurry.
Yes, sir. But these suckers plop right up there in a heartbeat. I'm like, well, you feel special now, so I guess
Yeah,
I ain't got to pay for it, so I ain't gonna raise no hell to get thrown out of here.
yeah.
Uh,
That's the way some of them are. And there were some that would, they'd come up. I really don't like doing this, but I gotta get back to work. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead. No
yeah,
problem. You ain't gotta
yeah,
apologize. Go ahead.
exactly.
Because I ain't got to get back to work.
I'm telling
Go
you.
ahead.
Actually, especially now, I'm like, hey, this is something to do for me. I ain't sitting at home now. You know, Go ahead, I don't mind. But yeah, it's something else. That
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
transition, boy. I saw y'all made a couple of presentations and was thanking the mayor and the people's city council, I guess,
yeah,
for
yeah.
donating the property to you. And I said, oh, so that went through.
We want to build a museum that is compatible to a museum versus where
Right,
we are now. And, all these different grants, either, state, federal, private, if you want to preserve something, they got all kind of money for you.
right,
If you want to build from scratch, one of the first no-nos ineligible is new construction.
right. Not knowing is not an excuse. There's too much information out there for you to know. Some people just don't have the wherewithal, nor do they. They're stuck in that mind lock of, oh, they ain't gonna do nothing for us, and that's just a compensation for you not trying to find out what you need to do because you don't. It's just like the old proverbial, ain't no dumb question. The only dumb question
Mhm.
is the one you don't ask.
That and and that's what I've told a few people. When they were talking about us getting that land donated, they said, "Well, how did that come about?" And I said, "Well, we asked. It's simple as that.
Yeah,
We went up, presented a proposal to them, and said, "Hey, we'd like to do this down on that property. That's our heritage down there. We'd like to do that. We asked." It wasn't no kind of rocket science. It wasn't no kind of, we'll bring in $1 million to give it to you if you give it. We just went in and asked. And I said, it's amazing sometimes what you can find out if you just ask,
exactly.
so
That's exactly it.
we'll see where things go. I think the next few months, hoping that, the legislature is going to come through with a little bit of money. I don't know. We go down next week where they're having a museum conference in Murfreesboro. And Tuesday, we all go down to the state legislature and talk to our representatives about helping museums. And of course, me and Mark have already gone down and talked to some of them already. So we're going to see what happened. But, it, it just, you don't get the most encouragement from your state representatives when one of their biggest concerns is trying to ban the sale of cold beer. I'm like, what? Surely there's more important stuff in our state than trying to ban the sale of cold beer. But that was one of the big topics in this current legislature was a proposal to ban cold beer because they said if you sell cold beer, there's more of a chance of them taking it and going and getting in their car and popping a top and drinking the beer right then. Where if it's hot, you have to take it home. So we want to ban the sale of cold beer.
Well, that's been the age-old stupid ass.
Well, I guess a couple of states have banned it.
Well,
From
it
what
was
I
banned
understand.
here. It was
Oh,
banned
really?
here. Hell, they just started doing it, I think, a year or two ago, and it was just like even in Texarkana, it was that way. You couldn't. They started selling liquor now here on Sundays. You couldn't buy nothing. Now, what's the difference of, of buying a whole bunch Saturday night and drinking Sunday, as opposed to going to the store and getting? It's just, man, it's stupid ass laws that need to be off the book.
Yeah.
Is what it comes down to, because it it ain't affected any more wrecks than they were already having, and half the time these wrecks are caused by people smoking weed,
Or on the phone or being
or
distracted
on
for
their
some
phone.
some other reason. But that's the thing I was saying. I'm like, you got a state that's one of the lowest performing states in the whole nation when it comes to education, but you
Mhm.
want to spend your time debating on selling cold beer.
Same
I
thing
just
here.
don't quite understand. And I was telling Tamara, I said, sometimes I think it's almost a mindset of these, state representatives, state senators are sitting back thinking, I've got to come up with some kind of bill so I can go back to my home continuously say, well, I sponsored bill, blah, blah, blah to do. So I got to
Mhm.
come up with something as dumb as it may be.
Yeah.
I've got to come up with something to present. I'm just thinking, surely we've got more pressing needs than that.
Oh yeah, that
But
that that you hit the nail on the head right there, because they all want to get something that they can say that they got through.
yes,
'Cause,
yes,
you look at, and then it all hovers around their religious and people that they hang with. Yeah, 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 kind of deal. Uh, uh, I've often said that you can draw a line through the southeastern part of the United States, starting with Oklahoma and Texas over here, and go all the way across Arkansas, Tennessee, and then it cuts down to Alabama. Georgia, not so much no more, but it cut down to Alabama and Florida now that they got old DeSantis with his dumb ass over there. But come all the way back across Louisiana, Mississippi, and that's where the lowest performing states are.
yeah, yeah, exactly right.
Whenever you see any rankings of anything of substance, when you get up around that 44th state or not, it all comes down to Southeast.
Yeah,
Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, all the way across there. And it's just dumb, man. They're not progressive. I mean, they keep close, tight quarters on stuff down there. They try to keep a little light Jim Crow still going on around there, so they can still. I know in my little hometown there, boy, that city council kept them old heads on there for the longest time. We were so backward, and the stuff, when I was there, living there, I didn't see it. But since, when I moved away, then I could see it. I didn't realize how redneck it was there when I was there. When I left and I started seeing the stuff, it's getting a little more progressive, but it's like for the location, Miller Brewery wanted to build a brewery there, right there in the four states area. It's going to be on the Texas and Arkansas side of Texarkana, but it was going to encompass, and hire people from Texas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Well, they didn't do it, so they sent it. Longview bid it on it and got it. Now Longview is a big dot on the map in Texas.
hmm
All kinds of stuff. That's where your boy for the Kansas City Chiefs live. Now, who nobody think about living in Longview back then, or back in my day. But the quarterback for Kansas City, that's where he lives. That's where his daddy got the DUI down there that he's going through right now. And so, but yeah, them old heads didn't want it in there.
And you can see that a little bit here. I keep saying here, but in McMinnville, The city government is a lot younger and a lot
Mhm.
more progressive than the county government. So you see that difference between those two groups here too.
Mhm.
And the city is the one that we went to, and they're the one that donated that property to us. And the administrator, he's not originally from here. He came in here, so he's seen things outside of this little small, rural county. A lot of people in the county can't see past that. They want to
Right.
remain that little small rural county, and they don't want to see a lot of progression. And if two people move to town, and there's two extra cars on the street, we've got a traffic jam everywhere because everybody's moving in here, kind of thing. And that's what you
Losing,
run
losing,
into.
yeah, losing control. We got to keep
Yeah,
control of this.
that's right, and that's what you run into with that kind of mindset. That's why I've told people with the museum and stuff. I said we got to try to get as much as we can now,
Yeah.
because we've got people who will listen to a uh, a well thought out logic presentation, but you don't know what the next regime is going to bring.
Right.
I said we got to take advantage of it as best we can now, because I talked to them about some, maybe some block grants from HUD and things like that they can get as a government, and they can do things like cultural centers and things like that. We had talked about maybe doing some of those kind of things with their grant writers and all. So we're trying to stay on top of the city government to try to help us out best they can. I mean, they made a big, I don't want to say a big sacrifice. It ain't like the property donated to us is on Rodeo Drive in LA.
Right.
It ain't
Right.
like that, but still, they did have enough initiative to do that. And I said, and they're willing to listen and talk about stuff like that. So I said, you gotta do those kind of things. And I said, we've got to keep moving. We don't want to get one of those situations where you look back in 5 years and people are saying, well, the city gave him that land and ain't nothing down there. It's been
Right.
sitting there for 5 years. I said, we got to be moving now and trying to get something, down there, whether we can get some money from the state or whoever it may be. So, but you gotta have people who are thinking, have that forward thinking. If you don't have that, you're not going to get anything done. And fortunately, we got some folks that are pretty good about that on our group. And the moral of this story, folks, don't let others spoil your dreams. Keep the faith. Hey, this is Mickey G. Join us for the next edition. See you next time. Until then, peace.